And we are live. Welcome everyone to my studio. It's Deborah Sue, Glass City Talent 419 with Toledo to the World. We have a special guest today. We want to welcome everybody into the studio. I'm going to give everybody a couple of minutes just to chime in here so we can get some followers here. For those of you who are tuning in, thank you very much for supporting the show, Toledo to the World with Deborah Sue. Thank you very much for supporting. Please do remember to like and share and subscribe. So we have Donald Warren in the studio today. And we're welcoming you to Toledo, sir. How about that?
Thank you for the welcome.
Absolutely, so happy to have you. You are a very interesting person of interest to Toledo because you do a lot of what we like to hear. We have a huge entertainment scene here in Toledo that many people don't know about. And you're from a bigger city, and you're from South Carolina. And well, you're actually not from South Carolina. Let's talk about where your beginnings began.
Okay, well, I'm from Brooklyn, New York, and that's where I grew up at, childhood dreams, my college days. And then after I graduated high school, I went up to Michigan and played football, little things and here and there. Then I left playing football and then started doing the acting and doing music. And I went back to school, decided to go back to school for music. So that's what brought me into the music industry. I started working with DMX, being his photographer at one time. I did shows with PNB Rock, Terror Squad. So I was all over, Summer Jam at Giant Stadium.
Yeah. How did you manage to do that? Because that's a dream for a lot of artists. You worked with a lot of very popular people, like literally worldwide, worldwide recognized people. How did you manage that?
Well, I was just putting myself in the right place at the right time. I know a lot of people that's already in the industry. One of my family members is part of the Lost Boys. So, I was just making music and going to school and going to, different places where I can promote myself as a businessman. And, things started happening. So I started, taking pictures when it was time to take pictures. And then recently I came up with the podcast and, that's been blowing up ever since.
Wow. That's a far stretch from being an athlete to being a musician in the industry and actually working with very large names.
Yes indeed.
Yeah.
It was truly a blessing.
Did you stay put in those situations, or were you traveling around when that happened?
Well, I was traveling around and I met people. I'm a people person, so I met people while I was traveling. And I did some music out in Utah with Uwe Collins and the Funk Band. And, I was doing live music compared to digital music that I was doing back in New York or Pennsylvania. And there was a different scene. So my artists, we try to put ourselves around a big genre, not just digital music, live band music. If you can do your thing in front of a live band, then you're really an artist,
Yeah, I agree with that. This is kind of off topic, but I have the very same mindset because I really do believe all the digital stuff and CDs and all that's fine, but I'm from the era that you played with a band, and if you can play with a band, you could do just about anything.
I agree.
And I think rappers is the same thing for rappers, whatever your genre is, stretch out and get off of all that digital stuff, and then give them that live performance.
Performance.
Absolutely.
That's where the money come from, the live performance,
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with you. So let's talk about then, Donald, some of the things that you're involved in, because you do a lot. You have a lot under your belt. I'm just going to mention a couple of them, okay? You are owner of Graveyard Production record label. Okay, you are Sweet Tooth Pastries Bakery. Are you the owner there?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and is that in Raleigh?
That's in Raleigh. That's in Raleigh, North Carolina, as well.
Okay, and then Take a Seat podcast is also, you guys are based in Raleigh, but you guys travel all over, right?
We travel all over, yes, ma'am. My next stop is Atlanta, Georgia, so I'll be traveling to Georgia soon.
Now, are you going there for a special event to record, or how are you handling that?
I have to interview an artist. She's growing very well. She's in the industry, but she's underground for now. So I want to interview her in her spotlight because she's growing right now in the industry, in the YouTube world. So I want to just give her an interview and just give her some love. And my podcast is non-profitable. Okay. So I don't really ask for things to show up. So it's just basically, it's benefiting both parties. I show up, we go live stream and just promote each other. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
That's what I'm trying to do for a lot of artists, a lot of actors, actresses, just to put them out there more and to put myself out there more because I like to travel. I love to travel.
Right, right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I agree. Everything doesn't require a dollar.
Yeah. So,
You
the more
know,
nice you be, the more benefits God gonna bless you with.
all day long. Absolutely. And see, that comes from your background also because you're also a minister, right?
Yes, ma'am. I'm a pastor, so yeah, I preach and I give to the homeless. I do a lot for the homeless. My heart is more of an outreach ministry. A lot of people just walk around without hope or somebody to speak to. I'm that type of person that give that spark plug
Mm-hmm.
that'll, jump back into the world because there's a lot of dead people walking. What I mean by
Mm-hmm.
dead people walking, they just walk around, no idea, no plan, no business goals. So I just want to be that spotlight.
Have you always felt that way?
My mother raised me well. My mother was also a pastor before she passed away in 2016,
Mm-hmm.
and I was a drummer. And back in the days when I was my mother's drummer, I was double Dutch. I would say I was in and out of the world. And once she passed, God spoke to me, and when I moved to Raleigh, North Carolina, I became more entwined, more in love of this being in His kingdom.
Mm-hmm.
And then sometimes I do get worried because I have a podcast, and the things that other people talk about. I get nervous. I don't want nobody to look at me different because I'm a pastor. Or he can't say that, or he can't do that.
Right.
But I just want to give the world the opportunity to shine how God put it into their hearts, because
Mm-hmm.
a lot of people is different. You got to pray for a lot of people.
Right.
You can't change them. You can't pray for them though.
Yeah, I kind of feel you on that with the anticipation that you have. When you bring someone on, you never really know what behavior or what's going to come out of their mouth, and so while you're trying to, promote them or maybe display a certain attribute about yourself in your show, you have to worry about what the other person is going to say, right?
I agree.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, sometimes that's a little bit of a conflict. Don't you agree?
Yes, indeed. Because now you gotta go back to editing, and before you promote, that things go. It's a little headache, but
Yeah,
I'm out there to have fun. It's fun the way you go and promote yourself, and you meet people, and things that you learn just from meeting people. So I like to network. It's all about networking and knowing who you know and pushing yourself forward.
Yeah. Well, one thing I do want to remind you is that you are a business, and a lot, just like any other television show or a news anchoring type show, they always say that the person that you have on the show, their views don't necessarily mean that they're your views, but they're, we're here for entertainment, and that's basically what it boils down to. It doesn't mean if you're a Republican and you have a Democrat on your show and you're just getting their opinion out there, it doesn't mean you share those opinions, but it means you're there to talk about it, to have some, hopefully some interesting dialogue to share with one another.
I agree.
Yeah, so, okay, let me get back to you. You are a music producer, a DJ, an actor, a film writer, a book author, and a disc jockey, a radio disc jockey. Now, let's talk about your acting career.
Okay, well, I was in the movie Charm City Boys with Meek Mills. I was playing extras, and I was in another movie called 21st Century Band, and I was the band director. And then now, after that situation started happening, I started learning the back end of it. I started writing my own movies, and right now I'm writing a movie called Mile Marker 180, and it's kind of like a suspense / thriller, because I don't want to give the whole story, but it's basically COVID had started, and the world, what happened when COVID started. Everybody started going crazy. People locking themselves down. We losing jobs here and there. These people losing properties they can't pay for their property. So it's basically a story about a man who went through it. He's a businessman. He had a family, a wife, and a son. And once COVID happened and he lost his job and his house, he didn't know how to go back home and explain it to his wife what was going on. So he went to his therapist, and his therapist, told him to go talk to his wife. She's a good lady. She wasn't really working at the time, but she was like a housewife. So long story short, instead of going back and talking to his wife, he went and, murdered his wife and his son.
Wow.
And then reacted on the movie as in moving. But his mentality was in the illusion where like, as he was traveling, his wife and his son was in the car. But long story short, he already killed them in the beginning of the movie. So I want the fans to see a man traveling with the illusion that he still got a wife and a son. He's still a happy man, but the world took over and his actions back in Pennsylvania. Because it's like, Mile Marker is actually real. It's based on true events. that happened between me and my wife, and we was on our way from Pennsylvania to Utah for a show. And when we got to Nebraska, we had went off the cliff twice in Nebraska. And it was real snowy out there. It was real bad. The weather was real bad. And first time God sent a truck, a man came and saved us out of the ditch. We didn't have to move. He said, stay in the car. I got you. The second time when we got off, I just called AAA, but God is so good, because of that whole trip, I believe my car went up the cliff 3 times, or twice, and then 1 time almost in Utah.
Wow.
So thinking about that movie and adding it to, just to give the people, the world, that suspense of what can happen when somebody go into depression. And you know what I'm saying, something happens that in the tick of a moment, they might lose their mind, and just instead of talking and communicating with the next person, they have to communicate with.
Yeah, it can happen to any of us, can it?
Yeah, so I definitely want to put that out there, like how, certain things can happen to somebody, and make them snap. So we gotta have time to talk to people, because we all God's people, and He wants us to communicate. Yeah, we're still brothers and sisters without being married.
Yeah, so you're making a case for mental illness and taking care of our taking care of our mental stability, right?
Yeah.
Wow. So when do you expect that you'll have that show out for? How are you gonna drop that?
It's gonna be a movie, and I don't want to be the main actor. I want to give somebody else a shine light. So I'm writing all the scenes now, and then once I get all the scenes together, 80% of the paperwork done, I'm gonna start looking for good actors to play that role.
Okay.
I have my daughter playing a scene. She's gonna be a friend of the son, in certain scenes, walking them to school and things like that. But other than that, I'm gonna look for people that I know by networking. And we're gonna go from there. And my dreams, I'm trying to push it. So I'm gonna sell it to certain places and tell them my idea. And if they like my contract, they can have it. But I want other people to act. I don't want to be in it. I just want to be the star of the writer.
Yeah. You want to be the producer and the director, right?
That's it.
So although that's true for you, you actually have experience in the movie industry, right?
Yes, indeed.
Let's talk about it. What did you do?
So, the music industry or the acting industry?
Acting.
Okay, well, like I said, I've been in a lot of extras in a lot of movies. Behind the film, I went to school for musical recording technology, so I learned how to, mic the live orchestra, things like that. So I do live bands, do live theater shows. So I've been around the world when it comes down to shows in Manhattan, like Broadway shows in Manhattan, different shows in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania.
Okay.
And so with the acting, I didn't go to school for it, but like I said, put myself in places and then told them that I act, and you have to present yourself well. And then I went from there, and then like this one movie recent, I was calling just to be an extra. And the guy knew me from the podcast. He says, instead of you being an extra, I want you to play a major part in the movie.
Wow.
And he wanted me to be the news reporter. So I went from being an extra in one scene to being the news reporter in the whole movie. So that was a blessing, so things like that happen. And I just gave it all to God.
Yeah, it sounds like it. Yeah, it sounds like you've got a lot of experience in a lot of things.
Yes, indeed. Yeah,
you do. So let me ask you something. With all the accolades that you have and everything that you're doing, is there any one thing that you want to focus on as far as your career is concerned?
As far as my career, it's just that I want every business aspect to come as one. With the podcast, it can tie into the bakery, Sweet Tooth Pastries. I like that to go worldwide. Graveyard Productions, I'm no more of looking for artists. I was always enthusiastic to find artists, and then, certain people, we give them a beat and they just say anything onto the beat.
Yeah.
So now that I'm more entwined with God, I do make gospel songs, so I can have gospel artists and things like that. So, as in everything I do, I just want to just make sure everything that I do is entwined to one. Make sure I'm feeding the homeless, giving all it to God. And my next dream is just owning an ice cream truck. I always wanted an ice cream truck for some reason, because with a bakery and ice cream together on one truck, and then I can go to festivals. Yeah, it's smart,
Yeah.
If anybody's still out there, I thought about it first, but pastries and ice cream, it's a great idea. You can't go wrong with it.
Yeah, that's a really good idea.
Yes,
Well, you
ma'am.
know what? You definitely have a lot under your belt, and I wish you much success in everything that you
Thank you.
do.
Thank you.
So when we talk about tying everything together, time is relative for everybody, but none of us has time that's promised to us. But
Mm.
I think within the next 3 to 5 years, I think you have a solid plan, and I hope they all are successful for you. But
Yes,
I think
indeed.
yeah, because that's the thing for me. I like to ask people, where do you see yourself in the next 3 to 5 years, and more importantly, the next 3 years? Because 5 years down the road, we never know what the way things are going nowadays. But kind of sounds like you have an idea of how you want to solidify your future.
Well, I'm currently in school right now. I'm enrolled in school for theology.
Hmm.
So next year I'll be getting my associates in my theology degree, and I
Okay.
want to do prison fellowship. I want to go back to the prisons and talk to the young men that's, getting out one day and letting them know that there's hope. You don't have to
Hmm.
go back out and keep on doing the same thing just to get attention. If you have ideas that you was thinking about while you was in prison, I can
Hmm.
help you. Get on your feet. So I want to do
Hmm.
prison fellowship, and I say 3 years. I definitely want to be, not really out there as in acting, but
Hmm.
as in movie writing and writing books and helping the community. That's more thing I want to do. Just making sure that the podcast grow.
Yeah.
I mean, worldwide. I mean, everywhere. I want to go to Africa and talk to people in Africa. I want to go to
Yeah.
Japan, the Philippines. I want to go all over. So,
So all that you have going on, how do you balance that with family life?
my family life. I have daughters.
Hmm.
And they daddy's little girls.
Yeah.
So, I try to base I try to time consume my life
Hmm.
as in work and the family and then entertainment. I basically do more entertainment on the weekends, when my time off. I'm the assistant manager at my job now, so I try to just show love to everything that I do. God
Hmm.
says give it your all, so I just try to
Yeah.
do the best I can at everything I do. My free time with my daughters and my wife is awesome. We go everywhere. I take
Yeah.
my family with me when we go podcast somewhere,
Hmm.
so they see the world. I take them to different museums, different zoos, take
Hmm.
pictures. Mountain climbing was kind of scary, but we did that with my kids in Utah. So, it's fun. And
Yeah,
I
you
played
have
with
a
the live band. So,
you have a strong support system, obviously. How do you feel about your daughters going into the entertainment industry?
well, my 14-year-old, she's nice in art. She can draw anything. So
Hmm.
I believe her entertainment world. She want to go to school in Japan when she graduated high school.
Wow.
So I'm trying to go to college out there. So I'm hoping her the best. But my kids, they seen it, they grew up to it, they seen
Yeah.
daddy play music. I play the drums at church, praise
Hmm.
and worship. So they seen all the aspects. And
Yeah.
as my oldest daughter is 20, and she taught
Hmm.
us to play the guitar
Hmm.
because daddy plays music as well. So
Yeah.
since she every time she makes music, hey daddy, how does this sound? So it's like it's a blessing. It's
Yeah, you're
things that
set.
rub
You're
off when you
opening.
get.
You're opening doors for your kids.
Amen.
You're and it's very is they're all varied. Like you're literally setting the world before them to say, hey, take your choice at what you want to do because
Whatever you
anything
want
is
to do.
possible.
But you have to go hard. You have to go
Yeah.
hard because I'll say the closer you get to God, the less support group you have.
Mm-hmm.
So the closer you get to God, the less support group you have. So
Mm-hmm.
that's you just gotta know who your friend is, know who your support group is, know who you talk to, you know, and that's how
Yeah.
things is because social media is not the thing to turn to, and I
Mm-hmm.
teach my kids that all the time.
Mm-hmm. And do you set restrictions for them as far as social media is concerned, what they can and can't watch?
But they more of a young now, so they entertain to Roblox, things
Okay.
like that. So I let them play Roblox, and we study a lot. I
Yeah.
mean, I'm straight to the books before the Roblox come.
Right.
The book first, then Roblox, and then go
Yeah.
outside, take them to the playground. They like
Yeah.
to box, so I teach them boxing and stuff like that on the side.
Mhm. Yeah.
You
I
know,
like to ask that question because it really shows me when I talk to individuals how grounded they are.
hmm
And you sound like you are very, very grounded and you're actually teaching your children to, put stake down into something solid. And I like that,
education first.
because our kids have a rough way to go nowadays, but it's nice to know that, they have parents that set rules, obviously, and
hmm
set examples, obviously, all the schooling that you had and all the experience that you have, and then you have a very supportive spouse. So I'm
Yeah.
very, very happy to hear that. So then let me ask you this next question,
hmm
because we kind of talked about it a little bit earlier. you know, you said you're from Brooklyn, right? And you have all kind of influence in Brooklyn. And when you go to out of state like that, do you take your family with you?
I take my family most of the times if my wife's not working, but definitely take my family most of the time. You know, if I get invited somewhere, my wife get talked to that night. You know, it's only fair in a marriage. You know, you compromise and communicate. But other than that, my kids enjoy it. My kids enjoy it. I know sometimes it's like, Daddy, how long? You know, are we there yet? But it's still fun stopping in different states and just taking pictures and meeting people. It's a blessing.
Yeah, that's a blessing. I tell you, when I went out to New York and we were kind of headed toward the Brooklyn area, you know, we had it made very, very clear to us that we had to be careful where we were when we would stop and perform, you know, because, you know, certain parts.
Come on now. Now, we ain't that bad. Come on, we ain't that bad. Brooklyn's not that bad.
Let me tell you something. I'm thankful because a guy came out literally. They said, listen, sis, let me have a talk with you. And I was like, I was thankful that they did that because, see, I'm wet behind the ears when it comes to some things. I'm very naive. Yeah. You know, and so when you have people who step out and say, hey, we think you're doing a really great job and we want you to be safe, I told them I appreciated that. I really, really did. I actually made a couple friends that day.
That's great. That's great. Yeah, Brooklyn people, I mean, they happy-go-lucky. Have you tried the pizza there?
I have. In fact, let me tell you what the funny part was. We were there eating pizza because it was an outside deal, and a guy walked by and took a piece of our pizza off of our pan.
What? A homeless guy or a regular guy?
And the lady that was sitting behind us says, "Oh, honey, don't worry about it. That just happens here."
Wow. He was hungry. You blessed him that day.
Yeah, the pizza was magnificent, though. I will tell you that.
I know the juices and
unlike any other. And I'm up here in the East, and we just don't have stuff like that here. Authentic food is authentic New York food is definitely something you have to have. You have to try.
Awesome. Yes, indeed. Yes,
yeah.
Indeed.
But anyway, let's get back to you because I want to talk about your record label. How do you, when you talk about your record label, you're a producer, obviously. Do you also manage artists?
I manage and produce. I started in 2006. Like I said, I used to make beats for Lost Boys back in the days. When I was a kid, I was just going to the studio, always being around after high school. And then I started making my own beats.
Okay.
My friend told me about FL Studios. And so, you know, it went from making beats in your house with just normal stuff, pots and pans, you know, glasses, your mother's coffee mug, and then recording that stuff. And then it went to the digital FL Studios. And, you know, I taught myself how to master things. If you're going to, you know, learn it, why don't you master it? So, like, every day if I hear something, I'll go straight to my computer. It might not be finished that same day because I like to just work on my work. You know, it takes a while, like a good 3 to 4 months, I say tops, to work on a master beat. I don't like to just throw a beat out there and then we got a song. No, it's got to be perfection.
So the folks that you manage right now, do they have you know music that's really popular in your area?
Oh my God.
Or
I have 3 artists right now, and they're all young, and I'm proud of them. They're actually growing. They still growing because they was all sad from that move from Pennsylvania to Raleigh, North Carolina. You know, they lost they promoter, they lost manager, you know, everything. Like I said, I took my group went everywhere. We went to Summer Jam in Giant Stadium. We performed for PNB Rock. We performed in front of Cassidy. We performed Ace Hood, A Boogie. So it's like we did a lot, and they was young when they seen that. But then after a while, I think the young mentality, it got to their mind quick. We came out with an album. We went traveling, and then it went. And so when I said I'm leaving, only 3 artists, only 3 out of like 30, only 3 kept it moving, and they music now. This one artist called me. He want to start a reality show, so we about to do that too as well on the side. We're gonna have a reality show with a bunch of artists in one house, and there's gonna be a couple of beat makers in there, and they're gonna do some performing in different states, you know, things like that. But they're gonna see that coming out soon.
Well, make sure you keep us abreast as to what's happening there. Okay. Now, do you have all of your music housed under one umbrella, or is there somewhere that people can go to find your music, or do you sell publicly, like on YouTube, or how do you do that?
Well, not really. I put all our music on ReverbNation.com.
Okay.
And if you ever on ReverbNation.com, you can search under the Graveyard Production, and I have all different genres up there. I mean, you have music that's techno from my artists. You have R&B songs. You have not saying Jamaican song, but it's more reggaeton. You have everything. Gospel songs up there. I made beats for this type of person, so it'd be like a a Pop Smoke type beat. Or Chris
you.
Brown type beat. So I make different things that I hear, and then I know the artists in my head. I can hear them on it. You know what I'm saying? Donate that beat to them.
Okay. So if an artist wants to reach out to you and sample some of your music and hear what you have, you know, because they might be interested in one of your beats, where they can find you on Reverb Nation. Where else can they find you?
Or Graveyard Productions 30@gmail.com.
Okay.
You can send me a text at 484-867-5050. And my name is also Donald Warren on Facebook. So you can find me. And you see a Take a Seat podcast picture in the background, but that's me. And just hit me up, you know, if you have something. I like to make beats from scratch. I'm like not more of a sampler. A lot of people is on sampling, taking other people's ideas and just slowing it down or speeding it up, and that's my beat. I'm more of an original. So you give me an idea, and I'll go right to work right then and there.
Perfect. Okay. Well, we know where we can find your music. We know where we can find your podcast. Take a Seat. I like how you branded that too. Take a Seat. I like that.
Yes, indeed.
And so we'll be looking forward to your upcoming show that you have there to in Atlanta. Okay. And then you also have all these other beautiful, wonderful things going on. But make sure you keep in contact with me and let us know how you're doing. Okay.
Yes, indeed. I will.
We are at the 6:32 hour. We got started about a couple minutes late. So is there any special shout outs you want to give to anybody?
I want to give a shout out to my family, the Warren family, to my friends, and actually to God. You know, God is good all the time. I'm shouting them out, and you know, to the people that's listening, thank you for listening. Please keep on supporting Toledo, Ohio. Y'all got a great show going on, and thank you for supporting Take a Seat podcast, because you know I got some things about to blow up soon. So you know, I just want to shout out myself and my ideas. You know, everybody, all the entrepreneurs out there, just shouting you out. You know, just go hard in what you believe in. You know, you have a dream, chase that dream, because I believe the Black culture in itself, you know, we are the low class because everybody come together and they different cultures, but the Blacks, you know, but the African Americans. So I'm just trying to help us out, you know, help us grow.
It's nice to see that though, because you know, prior to the show, we were talking about, and I'm not picking on any particular genre, but I will say that there are certain genres that have become very dangerous now, and unfortunately, or fortunately, we there are people around like you who actually say, hey, I'm here to support. I'm here. We need to get our act together, basically, you know, and I'm here to put a positive message out here, and I'm here to help. You know, your philanthropic efforts are absolutely to be commended. So I definitely commend you on that.
Thank you. Blessings to you. Thank you.
You're absolutely welcome. Is there anything you'd like to say before we close down?
Well, just, you know, thank you for having me. And anytime you want to have me back on your show, I'll be happy to come see you in person this time.
Okay, yeah. You know what? Because you're in some of the very same places that I'm in. So
okay, so whenever you come down to Raleigh, you know, you're more than welcome to come down to
you know what? You got the shows going on, and I got artists. I need to bring them. So let me know when something's happening there, okay?
I will definitely text you later on and let you know what's coming. We actually, August 24th, we have one in South Carolina. I don't know if you travel as well, but it's a, you know, Southern show. And you say you like Southern music. So they have pork skins. I don't know if you're a pork skin lover, but I love pork skins. And
you know what? There was a time I would do that, but now it's like I really have to watch my health and what I eat. You know, because you know.
Yeah, listen. I know somebody out there in South Carolina right now. He I don't know, but his hands, them skins and flavor.
Somebody, huh?
Something. I can't wait to get down there.
He got his own special sauce. I heard
his own special sauce.
Y'all seem to have stuff nobody else has, so I do agree with that. So definitely, when I'm headed your way, I'm gonna definitely have to hit you up. Okay.
That's a blessing. Thank you.
Absolutely. All right, we're at our 6:35 hour. I want to thank Donald Warren for being on Toledo to the World with Deborah Sue. Please be sure to support the show. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe over on YouTube. We are on YouTube at Glass City Talent / Toledo to the World. We are on Facebook under Deborah Sue, which is where most of you are right now. But we also have the platform Toledo to the World as well, and we're also on Instagram. And let's see, I think that's it. Instagram,
Facebook, a lot of things.
Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. So yeah, we're all over the place, and so we have viewership from everywhere, and so and our analytics tell us so. So we're happy to have everyone who tunes in. We're happy to have everyone who supports the show, who supports Deborah Sue, and make sure you tune in with us next week for another interesting show. Every Thursday at 6 o'clock, we will be here on your telephone, on your iPad, on your computer, wherever you are is where we want to be. Okay, so make sure you join
Right.
us, and thank you again, everyone, for joining us. Donald, it was a great pleasure. Thank you for being here,
Nice to meet you.
and
Nice to meet you.
we got
Thank you.
thank you very much. We would definitely be.